Let me introduce to you our next speaker, Anshinee Devi Ramana from UNDP, calling us from Mauritius today to tell us specifically about the project supported and developed by UNDP for the islands, which is a very specific situation. A quick word of introduction about Anshinee. She's the project coordinator for Mauritius and Seychelles, lovely destinations, bringing more than 10 years experience in the field of environment and renewable energy. Previously worked both on the public side and on the private side for the government of Mauritius and also for private customers, private clients. And Anshinee, you are here today with us to tell us about the work done by you and your colleagues on this exciting project, which has recently been in the news for storage in Mauritius and the specific applications this represents for the context of island countries. So without further ado, I'm going to give you the controls so that you can share your presentation and tell us more about this very interesting project of yours.
Okay, thank you, John. So, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, John, for the introduction. I'll begin. So, my name is Anshinee Ramana. I'm the project coordinator at UNDP Mauritius. Just a little background. UNDP Mauritius was established to support the government and the people of Mauritius to achieve sustainable development. So we work very closely with the government and other entities and partners to address key development issues, key development ideas, enablers in the sustainable development goals. So today I'm going to present to you one of the biggest projects in the country office of Mauritius, which is the Accelerating Transformational Shift to a Low-Carbon Economy in the Republic of Mauritius. And this project is over a 10 years duration. It is being implemented in two phases. Phase 1 started in 2017 and was completed in December 2021. And then phase 2 started in January 2022 and is expected to be completed in July 2027. The total project budget is 173 million USD, and we are receiving a grant of 28.2 million USD from the Green Climate Fund. So this project is in line with the target of the government of Mauritius, which is to increase the percentage of renewable energy in the electricity mix by 60% by the year 2030. And our objective is to scale up on climate change mitigation and reduce dependency on fossil fuel. So the aim is to increase the percentage of renewable energy through wind farms, solar PV farms, biomass, and waste-to-energy projects. In this project, we have three components. Component 1, institutional strengthening of the MARENA, Mauritius Renewable Energy Agency. And then we have the component 2, improving grid absorption capacity, followed by PV deployment. Then we have PV deployment in the outer islands of Agalica. And for this project, the implementing partner is the Ministry of Finance and also the Green Climate Fund, that is a donor, national designated authority. We have different responsible parties for the different components. For component 1, it is a Ministry of Energy, which is responsible to implement the component 1. For component 2, the Central Electricity Board is responsible to implement component 2. And just to highlight, Central Electricity Board is a sole agency in Mauritius who is responsible to generate, to distribute, transmit, and even sell electricity to households, to users in Mauritius. And then for component 2, we have the Outer Island Development Corporation to implement for component 3, the Outer Island Development Corporation. They will be responsible to implement component 3, which is PV deployment on the outer island of Agaliga. So Mauritius has different islands, that is the Rodrigues Island and Agaliga Island. I move on to the financing structure. As I mentioned, the total project budget is to an amount of 173 million USD. And this project has received a grant from the Green Climate Fund to an amount of 28.2 million USD. UNDP, we are co-financing this project for an amount of 1.8 million USD. And for the rest, it is a co-financing from the government of Mauritius, which brings us to an amount of 143.8 million USD. As I mentioned, this project is being implemented in two phases. We have the phase 1 and phase 2. For phase 1, it was important to develop the necessary framework, regulation, and standard to further enable deployment of renewable energy. So we had the Ministry of Energy, which was responsible to develop the necessary framework, and they came up with the Electricity Act, with standards on regulations and standards on the renewable energy technologies. We have the regulations on the electricity, safety, quality, and continuity. And we have the national grid codes, which had to be updated. And also there were some studies that had to be done for example, the feasibility studies of different projects and benchmarking studies on licensing framework that had to be done. To enable this, the purpose of this was to enable a regulatory infrastructure, a framework for renewable energy. And along with it, the MARENA, the Mauritius Renewable Energy Agency, is now able to promote renewable energy in Mauritius. We also have another entity, which is a utility regulatory authority. This entity is responsible to regulate all the utilities in Mauritius. That is, you have the water, electricity, wastewater. They are the one who regulates all these utilities. And with the funding from the GCF fund and this project, we have been able to revamp the Utility Regulatory Authority by providing a management information system and doing capacity building of staff at this entity. And this was component 1 of the project. Under component 2, under phase 1, to enable the deployment of PV panel and renewable energy, it was important to increase the grid absorption capacity. At the start of the project, the grid absorption capacity was only at 60 megawatt. And since the government has taken the target to increase by 60%, which means that I give you at the start of the project in 2017, the renewable energy was only at 105 megawatt contribution in the electricity. And to achieve the 60%, you have to reach 800 megawatt of renewable energy. That is some 700 megawatt installed capacity that we need to increase in our grid. So it was important that we have to have a grid that can accept, that can absorb intermittent renewable energy. So the government, in collaboration with UNDP, we have been working together to improve the grid absorption by providing 18 megawatt of battery energy storage system. This 18 megawatt of battery energy storage system has enabled the government to achieve the target of 185 megawatt of renewable energy, and it is the primary function of these batteries is to meet the peak demand in the evening and to regulate the frequency of supply to households. So here are some pictures. So the 18 megawatt was distributed in 6 areas. We have at Buton 6 areas at 6 substations in Mauritius. At Buton 4 megawatt, 4 megawatt at Anaita, 2 megawatt at Plateau Kenik. We have 4 megawatt at Jinfei, and 2 megawatt at Amori, and 2 megawatt at Angita. These are some pictures of the battery energy storage system in Mauritius, and the supplier was Siemens France. This is a 4 megawatt battery in Jinfei. Containerized system, lithium ion battery. another picture of 2 megawatt battery energy storage system. And this is a picture of the battery racks and battery modules. So along with providing the battery energy storage system, we also ensure that there is a training, a capacity building program that is provided to all the technicians, engineers at the level of Central Electricity Board. Why? Because we need to ensure that the system that we have been able to install, to implement, it is maintained and operated. And we ensure the efficiency of the system that we have been able to install. Also, along with the battery energy storage system, we have an automatic generation control system that have been installed. This automatic generation control system is a control mechanism used in power systems to maintain balance between the load and the generation. When now the system the grid is able to accept to some 185 megawatt of intermittent renewable energy. Phase 2 started in January 2022, and under Phase 2, this project is implementing an advanced distribution management system. What is an advanced distribution management system? It is a software platform like a SCADA system, which will manage and optimize the distribution of electricity across the grid infrastructure. And the battery energy storage system is already connected to the grid. So now at Phase 2, we are able to deploy 25 megawatt of rooftop solar PV panel, which will be directly connected to the grid and then to the batteries. We have 3 categories of beneficiaries that we have targeted for this project. And these categories are the households, 10 megawatts we have identified for households, 4 megawatts for NGOs, and 11 megawatts for public buildings. As of now, some 9 megawatts of worth contract has already been awarded, and 2,000 families, low-income families, has already received a rooftop solar PV panel. I'll show you some pictures of the PV panels. These are the houses in Mauritius, and it depends on the capacity. So some of them have got 1.5 kilowatt capacity of rooftop PV panel, and we have others who have got 2 kilowatt capacity. These are for households, and the CEB is responsible to deploy these PV panels in collaboration with UNDP from the GCF grant. So I stop here, John. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Anshinee. And congratulations on this great and diversified initiative. So it's not only storage, but it has a lot of different components, a lot of different phases, and we can feel that there is a real plan and a long-term objective there. This is not just a one-off pilot project, but everything it's following its pace. Very good. A few questions for you, and before I share the first question, I must say I'm sorry that Williams could not stay as I wanted, but we were running a little bit late on the schedule, and unfortunately Williams had to excuse himself because he has a customer meeting this morning. So good luck to him, and please join me in thanking him for his presentation. I have a few questions for you about your initiative, Anshinee. This project here, you mentioned that there was a grant made available for by GCF. I was wondering, like, was this like a mandatory element for this project to happen? And without the grant, it would not have been possible to do this. The underlying question is, Is storage still too expensive in the case of Mauritius, which is part of the more wealthy countries in Africa? Or is there something else to be understood there?
No, in fact, the DCF grant, it is being a support to Mauritius so that they can scale up on renewable energy. Before we start this project, we didn't have any regulation, any framework. So this project is like an initiative, a first step for Mauritius to scale up on renewable energy. In 2019, we were still at 19% of our renewable energy, and the target was 60%. To reach that amount, we have received this support, this grant from Green Climate Fund. And along with this grant, the government is taking the commitment to co-finance additional amount to ensure that a larger scale of renewable energy can be adopted in Mauritius. So for me, the Green Climate Fund was the first step to ensure that renewable energy is actually adopted in Mauritius. And I would like to highlight that we have enabled installation of the 18 megawatt of battery energy storage system. And last week itself, the government has commissioned an additional 20 megawatt of battery energy storage system. And the financing was to an amount of 15.5 million USD. So there is work that is being done following the step that we have already taken. Yeah.
And this was this newest project that you've just mentioned. This is something outside of the projects led by you.
Yes. So the newest, the 20 megawatt, it is an initiative of the government. It is not UNDP, the initiative of the government. It is just what we have built, the 80 megawatt. We have an additional that government has set up. Now the total amount is 38 megawatt of battery energy storage systems.
Underlining probably the catalytic role that this first demonstration that you've done through your initiative may have created more comfort, more understanding of those systems, I suppose.
Exactly, yeah.
Actually, the question about this, the systems under your supervision and initiative. So you've presented the different various systems, which are 18 megawatt total, but subdivided into different projects. And then now you've just highlighted another 20 megawatt project, which is in one location. Can you maybe explain why, in your case, you subdivided into smaller projects and why the other one is maybe more centralized in essence? Is there a technical reason, financial reason?
No, because in Mauritius, all the facilities, all the households are connected to the grid. And we have different substations. So it is not like centralized at one place. We have different substations. At these substations, you have the localities, the different facilities. So they have not centralized all the batteries at one place. It was better to put it at different substations to support the facilities that there is there. So because Mauritius, we do not have the issue that there is any system or facilities that is not connected to the grid. So the idea of, like, for example, if you tell me to come up with an off-grid system in Mauritius and off-grid technology, it will not work.
Fair enough. If I'm not mistaken, UNDP is also active on similar projects elsewhere. I wanted to ask you, I know your specialty is Mauritius and Seychelles, but I wanted to ask you if you see other places in Africa where specifically the knowledge that you have built and developed for this specific application, where you see potential, or where you know that colleagues from UNDP are also working on similar projects?
There are different projects that UNDP is working on, but it is not similar. Because the characteristic of each country is different. Here we have the advantage that the electricity supply, we have 100% electricity supply, but not everywhere in the region of Africa it is the same. So the technologies, the system that they will adopt will be different. And I can provide you with some countries, but I need to check on. I can send you the list of countries later on. But we do have projects in the African region.
Yeah. So we understand Mauritius is a little bit of a special case in the context of Africa with 100% electrification, and also a fairly well-established utility company and public institutions managing the sector. The situation is a bit different in other countries where utility companies have to battle with other situations to start off from. Electrification period is a big challenge. Managing the grid, we know that the infrastructure is not of great quality everywhere. But is there some advice that you could give to officials and to representative of utility companies in other African countries to actually better understand and better evaluate the benefits of storage that they could get in their specific situation? Anything that you've learned dealing with the utility in Mauritius, which can maybe be replicated in other countries so that they can benefit from your experience there?
Okay. So to I would say that the batteries itself, it was a key enabler for Mauritius to ensure that we can onboard intermittent renewable energy in the grid. So if we had not these batteries, we would have lose lots of renewable energy that is being generated during the day, and at night we could not use it. So first, having the batteries was a key enabler for us to adopt intermittent renewable energy to increase our percentage. And secondly, here Mauritius, the fact that it is a small country. It is a small country, so we do not have areas which is isolated. So we can reach out to nearly every citizens, every population. So it is easier to get them connected to the grid, but it needn't be the same in other regions. That's why maybe in other regions they can do different cases. They can adopt different cases for different region. You cannot connect everyone in a single grid because you have isolated region in far distance, but in Mauritius it is not the case. And then also we have Rodrigues Island. There we have houses which are isolated. So there we could not connect them to the grid. What system they have adopted is they have done a community PV farm. A community PV farm in that region where the electricity that is being generated is connected to the grid in some way. It is not like the beneficiaries, a household is benefiting from it directly, but it is in their community. The electricity that is being generated will be used by them. It is not installed at their houses though. So these are the system that we use.
It's very similar to the mini grid concept that we see in many other African countries on the continent. Yes.
And then you need to have the regulatory framework, which is important because if you do not have this framework, you will not be able to deploy renewable energy in Mauritius, in any country. It is important to have this framework, the grid codes, and yeah, the standards.
Yes, and it is a fact that in Mauritius, quite a lot of work has been done on this front compared to other countries in Africa, and so we can also see the results in terms of renewable energy being deployed on the ground.
Yes.
We have a special question here, special listener, Gail, who actually works for the UK government and so is part indirectly of GCF, your biggest donor. He will be visiting Mauritius in a few weeks and very eager to see the result of what you have been working on. But Gail's question is more about the future. And because Mauritius is in that position of promoting and welcoming electric vehicles, the question of Gail is more about how have you planned for the introduction of more EVs on your grid, and how do you anticipate this is affecting the current plan that you have, because electric vehicle adoption is a relatively new thing in the electricity environment. This is one more variable to take into account. How will this potentially impact all the work that you've been doing over the past few years?
So indeed, electric vehicles is now coming in Mauritius. We have this technology, and in fact, even at the level of UNDP, we have a project that we are working with Mauritius for electric vehicles. And the CB, the Central Electricity Board, the government of Mauritius has already taken budgetary measures, incentive. For example, we have schemes for electric vehicles, for charging stations. So to enable this system, they are considering that these charging stations can be connected to the grid, and there can be solar PV panel that can be on the rooftop. So there are deliberations that are being done in that direction as well.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Anshinee, and congratulations on the great developments in Mauritius. I also hope I will get a chance to visit soon for personal and for solar reasons. It was great hosting you today. I know it was a little bit last minute, so I appreciate your participation even more and your willingness to present about your work.